Man United have a problem with less than 1 week, 6 days left of the window. Look, we're going to go through the fallout of the United versus AC Milan 4-2 loss. Now, look, again, the result isn't the problem. It is basically beforehand talking about Ruben Amorim wanting to get one over on him. And look, the weaknesses are still there. These low IQ players, the fact that they switch off. Does Michael Carrick have the squad? And we've got a game in 6 days, and how are we going to pick ourselves up? Because we know this team is capable of any result. João Palhinha went on loan to Spurs of Bayern is apparently, look, we are looking at him, and we will discuss that as well. Look, there is definitely some fallout, and I think there is a reality check, more importantly, that's coming out of that AC Milan game. And it's basically, where do we go? Look, the issues are still going to be here. Sky is in the house, and I will come on to that as well. So look, where are the problems? The problems are still the midfield. The midfield spaces are there. The defensiveness is there. What happens if Santos gets injured? What happens if Santos isn't the player that we think he is? And it's ultimately the mentality of these players, and we will go through all that as well. Look, you tell me. You tell me. Fabrizio is saying that we need a left back, a centre midfielder, a striker. You tell me how that happens in this window, because look, we've not done a deal for 5 weeks, and we're suddenly going to do 3 deals in less than 3 weeks. So tell me what you think we need. Look, did you watch the match? What do you think? Do you think I'm being too much? I want to know what your thoughts and feelings are. Do you think that Ineos are going to manage to pull it out of the bag? As I said, Fabrizio Romano is talking about a left back, a centre back, a striker. We spoke about this Saturday. Is this a cover up to keep you quiet? And we will talk about that. So we are going to be talking about, again, as I said, Palhinha. Look, this is a player whose wages are going to be reasonably expensive. There's going to be a cheap fee deal to do. But look, this is a player that played for Spurs last season. Spurs didn't take up the option to buy the player. They finished 17th, and Bayern do not want this player. Why are we looking at rejected players? And of course, it's all about price and all about the wage. And look, we're going to be looking at something much bigger. United must act. Now, I know people have said it's only pre-season. It is not just pre-season. Look, the pre-season is done. You can't improve the mentality of this squad in this week. So look, please get in there. Please get into this amazing community, and we will I will get into it as well, and we will talk about all of the good stuff. So look, let's get into the AC Milan result first. I want to talk about that in depth a little bit, because look, the thing that annoys me the most, and I'm going to take out the team for a second. I want to talk about some fan channels. I'm not going to name them by name. What I am going to say is this: I saw a lot of fan channels, a lot of X accounts, a lot of social media people. They're basically, the whole premise for that AC result was, oh, we've got to get one up on Ruben Amorim. We've got to beat AC Milan for the boys. This rhetoric was coming out that these boys are up for beating AC Milan. They want to get one over. Look, why? I don't understand this whole nonsense about why we're trying to get one over on this coach. You have been indoctrinized. You have been spun around by this club, because it's suddenly Ruben's fault. It's apparently it is his fault that apparently we've not signed players. It is his fault for the last 20 years. It is his fault. It's always about blame. Now, fan channels, why are you participating in this wanting to get one over on a coach that was, in my opinion, was thrown under the bus as well? Yes, there is a lot of things that we can throw his way and throw at him on the pitch, but let's not forget, we were talking about this last season. Ruben was in the same position last season. Ruben, we can argue he got players. They weren't his players. Now, I'm not suggesting that Ruben is going to suddenly be this best coach and AC are going to be this amazing team. But it goes to show this United fan base and where we are. It goes to show the mentality of these players. Do we enable these players to have these egos? Like, how dare these players and their sole focus, apparently, and I'm not saying that this is true, but their sole focus is to go out and do one over a manager. Why? Isn't it enough that you've spent the last 13 years, some of you have been here for nearly all of that time, to get one over a manager? Look, I don't understand. I don't get what the mentality is. It should not be about getting one over on a manager or one over on a player. The goal should be getting this club back to the top. Now, I've got no doubt that Michael Carrick, whatever we think of him as a coach, as a person, look, he's got to be backed. And I've got to take him out of this for a second, because I do not think that he is complicit in this. Amorim trying to beat him kind of thing. This is all about now, should be about winning the Premier League. Look, I'm not saying that this is what's going to happen, but we should be all about trying to win the Premier League. So look, this whole AC Milan, I wanted to talk about that at the beginning, that our thought process, what we do should not be about other teams. Ruben Amorim, to me, look, I had my opinions on him. I don't think it's fair. He now is the coach of another team. I don't care. I don't want to get one over on him from a personal perspective. I want to win. I want to get one over on the club, and I think this is where we need to get over this. And I will come into the chat as well. So look, we absolutely need to move on from this rhetoric and this weird kind of mindset that we've got. So let's talk briefly about AC game. Now look, I'm not going to go into it. We've done a match reaction on this show, and I will talk a little bit about what I think the problem is. Now look, many of you on the show said the pre-season. Look, I get it, pre-season, but AC Milan is a pre-season game in name. We've had our pre-season. This was the precursor to the season start, and we failed. Now it's not I'm not bothered. I'm not bothered by the result. That is, sometimes these things happen. It, for me, is the performance, and it reminded me very much of last season. And what it reminded me of is this. Look, we had the ability to score goals. We had the ability to do that. But what is strikingly similar to Michael Carrick. Now, Michael Carrick was at Borough. And what is strikingly similar to him being there is this. In his last season, Michael Carrick had the ability to score goals, but Michael Carrick conceded as many, or if not more, than his team scored. And last season we got away with it, and we showed this season that we're not going to get away with it. Now look, I saw this comment, which was a really interesting comment to me, how we've basically got the same, pretty much could have the same back four starting as we did in 2023 or 2024. This is the same back four. And yes, we can go through the team, but this is what we are. We're being sold down the river again. Look, Michael Carrick is being sold down the river. It is absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely disgusting what this club is trying to do. Is what it's trying to sell you. It's basically trying to package up the same stuff again. The low mentalities there. Look, until you can package this season up as we're going to look to win a Premier League. You can package this season up as a budget season. You can package this season up. Oh, this is a new club. We're trying to do the brand new things. But the same players are here, and the same players are going to cause the same problems. Maguire is not suddenly going to become this amazing, fantastic player. Luke Shaw is done. The fact that we've been on this Luke Shaw bus now for the last 10 years, I think is crazy. More so over the last 3 to 4 years. Trying to repackage a Luke Shaw, great. It defies logic that Luke Shaw is now suddenly fit and can be fit every single season for the last year. He's not good enough. This is not against him. This is against, if you want to win a Premier League, if we want to win a Premier League, if we want to go far into the Champions League. And let me tell you this, if you think it's bad now and we've got Champions League this season, what do you think it's going to be like if we don't have Champions League? What happens if we're Spurs next season? And I'm not saying that we are, I'm just putting it out there. I'm giving you the both sides of the coin. What happens if we are Spurs next season? If we finish 17th next season, we are done. We are screwed. So this season is so important for so many reasons. And look, guys, I promise you I will get into the chat, and please get in there with your comments. I want to know about what you think about the weekend just gone. I want to know everything about what you think in terms of that before I get in there. So look, the season starts in less than a week, and look, I'm not worried necessarily about can we beat Hull and Ipswich and the Toffees. Look, I think we can beat Hull. It might not be pretty, but we can do that. Ipswich as well, we can beat them, but it's when you come up against the likes of the Toffees, the likes of the Magpies, City. Man City is the fourth game. Now look, Man City did get beat, and this is what I've been saying to you. If you want to win a Premier League, okay, our excuse is going to be this. We're tired, you know, players have just come back from the World Cup. Does that impact Arsenal? No. Do Man City care? Look, Man City got tanked. Fine. But they're not going to use the World Cup as an excuse. The World Cup has been and gone. They are not going to use that as the excuse. Arsenal are not. So if this club is serious about winning the Premier League, you've got to go and do what Arsenal did. You've got to put a marker down against Hull. If we don't put a marker down against Hull, then look, you can forget from the first game of the season trying to win a league. But look, we do have 6 days until we play, but it's absolutely vital and imperative that Michael Carrick gets into these players now. But guys, get in there and you tell me what you think about all of this stuff. So I'm going to get into the chat, and then we're going to talk about what Fabrizio Romano has been saying. Palhinha, you know, look, I'm terrified. Palhinha, you know, look, are we going to keep on picking other people's crap up? So let me get into some of your chat. Sky is in the house, and Sky, I hope you had a fantastic birthday as well. But Amron knew how United would set up. Other streams are mad as they want the top tier signings. Look, we reported on the top tier signing. I'll keep saying this over and over again, okay? We reported on this channel months and months and months ago, while everybody else was telling you that, well, we're going to sign, we're going to spend 400 million, we're going to sign X amount of players. We did the financials. I'm actually looking forward to seeing the Q4, the end of year results, by the way, as well. We did Q3, we did salary squad cap. We went through everything on this channel and brought you what I think that would happen. Even I was wrong. At the moment, I predicted between about 160 to 180 million. We could come in less than that. I thought that I was being conservative by saying that we were going to spend about 160 to 180. It looks like we could do less than that. Even I am wrong on this one. We have gone even below the expectations that I thought that we would go to. So look, we've had 6 months to plan this window. We've had 6 months to plan the window. We've had 4 years. We've basically had 4 years to know that a window, 4 years for a World Cup, that we knew that a World Cup was going to happen as well. So look, there is no excuses to me. Look, the excuse is going to be on the money and the budget. And I can come on to that, but I will get on to your chats as well. It's a joke, says Sky. United owners don't care about United, says Neil. I sense some panic buyers incoming. Well, look, you do make a good point, Sky. Look, we were told, and again, I love when United talk. I love it because we were told categorically were told that we don't do panic buys. We're not going to sign players over the age of 25 years old. We're going to look for quality, and we're going to look for all of that good stuff. Let's see if we panic buy, because if we panic buy, we are the same club, and it's just a load of nonsense. So I'm interested in that as well. But same and doing two different things. Are we going to make more signings? We will come on to that as well. Shard says, good morning. I don't think we get any more signings. Rumours that Harry Amas could be on his way out. We need to do what we need to do is get a different story. Maguire wants Marcus Rashford to stay. Now, look, I love the fact, guys, get in there with your chat as well. Look, Amas, if we sell Amas for 6 million, it is a disgrace. And apparently today, because that comment has sparked something off as well, is the reports are out today or yesterday, and we've said this already on this channel, is that United are going to use the academy as a conveyor belt to make some money. That is surprise. That is what this club has done. So now know why this club is buying in the talent. We are trying to make a conveyor belt of players so we can basically sell them. Look, I don't mind doing that. If you've got an academy and you can bring in players, but we're not doing it like a City does. We are basically trying to manufacture a boy band. We're trying to convince the world that if we buy in a Thompson, we stick him in the first team for a couple of games, take him out, and he's suddenly going to be worth X amount of money. That's not how this happens. So exactly that 100% on that. Amas, for me, if Amas leaves for 6, it is an absolute travesty. It cannot happen. I do not want to sell him for 6 million. That is not good business. That is not good business. And what does that enable us to do? 6 million for a player who is his age, his wage, and his experience. Now, he is worth 15 to 20 million. Whether people agree with me or not, I think he's a fantastic player. United defending against AC Milan was shocking. Look, Neil, again, look, we would talk through the game as well, my friend. Look, it was absolutely abysmal. It was atrocious. Look, we know what these players are. We get told every season this is a brand new day, this is a brand new season, and I will give you the slight positive to that as well. Just for us as a new studio, it's starting to look professional. Thank you. As I've said, I've been meaning to do this now for quite some time, and I'm going to be doing lots of changes behind the scenes as well. So let's see how we actually do. Love the setup, JB. Thank you, Dino. Absolute legend as well. Nick says it was a way to blame Amorim for all the past failures. If we beat Ruben and Milan in a pre-season game, it backfired. And Nick's, I agree with you. It was almost like, let's blame Ruben Amorim, right? Blame him. It's almost a bit like when you want to find a scapegoat. Anything, like I've said before, the reason this fan base has a really difficult job in doing the things that it does, and I don't blame fans, by the way. We've had 23 years of this spin. They will blame everybody other than themselves. Wilcox, I posted a short, okay? I've spoken about this many times. Jason Wilcox in this post, in this short, basically says, I'm a frustrated manager, which makes my job harder because, behind the scenes, blah. This is why we fell, because Jason Wilcox doesn't want to blame himself. Omar doesn't want to blame himself. Ineos do not want to take the blame. The Glazers don't. And who else can you blame? Carrick, he'll be next. The next one, Ruben Amorim. And this is what we do. The cycle of this stuff will just never stop. Why does the paper lines look like it's moving? I know that I'm going to do some stuff behind the scenes as well. Natasha said we're living in the past. Alex says, JB, you mentioned Kwanzaa the other day. I reminded you that we have first option. I've not seen confirmation, but all accounts the clause has expired. Look, Kwanzaa, for me, I think he's a good player. I would love to sign him. I think he's exactly the kind of smart, shrewd player that I think that we should get. The fact that we're not, what can I say on that? So I don't think that we would. We don't have the money, and I think that's one for next season. Big D says, imagine we struggle this season with a championship manager and coaching staff, and I guarantee you that we'll go back to counter football. And the Big D, look, the most frustrating thing for me with this side is there is two sides to this story, and I want to give you the positive. And look, I'm not a channel who is negative in terms of, I don't just want to push that. What I saw in the first half against Leeds, what I saw in the Rosenborg game, what I saw in the PSG game, when Michael Carrick is brave and he plays the young players, when he plays the young players, I noticed that we play with a freedom that you just don't get with the players who are the senior players. I like what Michael Carrick did against Leeds in the first half. I like what Michael Carrick did in the first half against the PSG. Yes, those weren't the first teams, but I like that style of play. I like the fearless. I like him when the players are unbound. I like the youth players. Many of you were saying last season, let's play the youth. He's brought these youth players in, and I've loved every second of watching those young players play. Armour, I thought he was absolutely brilliant. Lacey has been fantastic. The Fletchers have been okay. Thompson has been okay. Amas has been okay. All of those young players, when he plays a team that's free, that is what I like to see. It's only when you bring the senior players back that it becomes a problem. And I think Michael Carrick has to be brave. And I do agree with Big D there. Michael Carrick will return to type, and I don't want it. I like the Carrick style of play that we saw against Leeds. I like that, and I want Michael Carrick to succeed so much. And this is not even necessarily going to really be about him this season. I think is because look, he's going to get thrown under the bus when it comes to these players. If he says he's happy, what else is he supposed to do? But when it comes to those players on that pitch, look, would you rather, this is my view, would you rather go out on your sword, playing this expansive football, trying to entertain the fans, or would you rather bore, counter-attack and do what we did the last season? Because guess what? That is what's going to get you the sack. So look, I do agree with you. I don't want us to go back to counter-attack FC. I want to see Michael Carrick do something different. We need a left back, a centre back, CDM, a left winger, and a striker. I agree with you. I do know the deal Liverpool has with Bayern in two parts. So what we're saying, win the league, there's no chance. And again, look, I'd love to be complicit. I'd love to say that we can win a league. Look, if, for example, we had one game a week, is this squad, the forward line, capable? Yes, I'm not necessarily too bothered. I think we've got a good forward line. The midfield for me is still a problem. What we're saying in here as well. Guys, get in your chats as well, and please give the video a like, even if you just give the new look give the new look a like as well. It does help us out quite a lot. Win the league, there's no chance. Not getting top four is massive. Look, top four, I can't even express to you how bad that will be. Luke Shaw is really cooked. We need a left back, centre back, and a CDM. And I agree with you, Luke Shaw. And I'll get through the comments. Look, this is not about personal. people can't separate out personal um, criticism of a player's personality, criticism of the person, criticism of the player. Look, in life, people can like you as a person, but criticize you in the things that you do, and that's perfectly fine. Um, Slot destroyed. He looked very promising before Slot, and his confidence is down. How does it feel being loser? Says Omar Gad. Now look, Omar. Look, I'm not going to get into that this morning. Look, I'm not going to perpetuate this whole doom and gloom. Look, this for me, the reason why I'm talking about this for me is like this is an opportunity for an intervention. An intervention into this squad is, look, if this squad gets the kick up the arse that it needs now, it can move forward. When these players want to play, they're capable of some amazing things. Look, we lost a pre-season friendly. I'm not bothered. But Omar, look, let's see how AC Milan do. Look, you guys finished fifth last season. We are in the Champions League. So before we get carried away, and I'm not going to get too carried away with the loss, with the result. But let's be clear: you are in the Europa League and you finished fifth last season. So let's not be chucking those stones just yet. Liverpool possibly planning for Virgil leaving when his contract expired. Yeah, exactly. We're so quiet. Every football gossip for weeks. The lower teams are getting players that we should be getting. Look, Shard again. Look, are we waiting to panic buy? I just don't know. Would you sell Rashford to Barca if the bid came in? Now, look, Neil, would I sell Marcus Rashford to Barcelona? Unless we can find a replacement, no. And the reason why I wouldn't sell him if we don't have a replacement is because we need numbers. Look, I tell you the one thing, and this may basically surprise you. Is this is of all the players that I saw, Marcus Rashford to me, and again, this doesn't mean that I want him to stay. This doesn't mean that I forgive the player, because to be honest, look, there's nothing to forgive. Let me tell you what I saw. I saw a Marcus Rashford that got his head down, and there was a ball, and I've said this 3 or 4 times now. There was a ball that was a dead ball. Marcus Rashford sprinted onto the ball, slid, kept the ball from leaving the field, and set up a chance. If we get that player every single week and he earns that, that is what I'm up for. That we cannot sell Marcus Rashford unless there is a replacement there that we can bring in to the squad. But would I sell him? Yes, I would. But we have to bring in another player as well. Are the lines on the paper on John's desk moving? It's messing with my eyes. Yeah, I need to break up the wall, which I will definitely do. So I will do something on these walls as well. It's all in the eyes. It looks like it's moving for me too. Yeah, I need to sort this out. I will do so. I will. You might just need to close your eyes. Maguire said that we're ready to challenge for the league. Now, look, yes, I did hear that. Harry Maguire. Look, Harry Maguire. Let me tell you how much you should listen to Harry. Harry Maguire tells you to play king shot. When you've got hi, it's Harry here. When I'm not training and not being picked for England, I play game shot. I play king shot. King shot gets me through the training, gets me through life. Play king shot now. It's Harry here. No disrespects, but what you got to get is these players are mates. I do not listen to what Maguire says. Harry Maguire should concentrate to playing king shot and being on the pitch and staying fit. Look, these players have been told to glaze Marcus Rashford. There is no look. He is. It's almost a bit like if if the outside world doesn't like your friend, but they are your friend, they are friends, football Man United friends, England friends, friends. And that is what we've got again. We have got friends. This is Friends United. This is Jobs for the Boys. This is Friends. I basically listen to Maguire as much as I would listen to my dog. I'd rather get Kone or Baleba, not Palhinha. I'll get into that as well. It's gone from data driven to the eye test. Yes, exactly. I agree with you. What's that? Suspected scam call. That's positive. Like Mark said, the back four is the same. And again, look, if that's what he said, look, I agree with him. I thought it was like 23. Look, it is abysmal. It is absolutely disgraceful. We absolutely cannot go into a season with the same back four as 5 years ago. It's going to be atrocious. So Euro wasn't there in 2022. Look, no, but the thing is, Euro may not start. But look, Luke Shaw was there, Dallo was there, Maguire was there as well. See what we're saying in this chat. Not for me to tell the United fans what to do, but once the season starts, they need to forget the negatives and just support Carrick and the lads. And Alex, look, I like that, Alex, but let me tell you something, Alex. Look, this is what we did on this channel last season. Look, every single game, United will always get my support. The manager, look, I supported when Ruben was getting absolute pelters. I was supporting the coach. I will support the manager. I won't support the hierarchy. I will support the club. I won't support what they're doing to the club. I will support the manager. I'll support some of these players, but some of these players, I am beyond. I know what these players are, but I will support these players. I will support this club like I've always done, and like fans will as well. We should sign. So I've seen Kevin Wharton doing the rounds today. We're not signing Adam Wharton. He's going to be 85 to 90 million. Look, I would love to sign Wharton, but we put out there a couple of months ago that Adam Wharton is very similar to a Kobe Mainu. For me, we need a CDM. We need a CDM number 8. Could Adam Wharton, is that a position that he could do? Yes. I think we need somebody who's more defensive, but he's going to be the best part of 80 to 90 million. I don't think that's something that we do. Ineos are no different to our corrupt, to the government always lie and blame other people. Look, big dog, I don't disagree with you, my friend. When's Barcola happening? We won't spend the money, says Ryan. I think top 5 it'll be hard. Look, I think it's going to be hard. A few years back, Spurs lost every pre-season game. They won the first 5. We still top at Christmas. Pre-season results mean nothing. Now, look, Alex, I disagree with you. Look, I agree with you. I agree with you on the fact that pre-season results don't really matter as such. I agree with you. But the last game, look, Alex, what I'm going to say to you is this. We've got 1 week until the Premier League starts. I'm not bothered about the results. These players were telling you, and this club put on a PR spin that we are trying. We put out a PR spin that this club is trying to beat Ruben. This club was trying to beat AC Milan. If this is trying, it bothers me. It bothers me. And look, this for me isn't just the result. It is the application. This is no different. This is what we've seen all season. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing again. And we've got the same players. So whilst I do agree with you about pre-season, I don't agree with you about this match at all. I'm sorry, my friend. Done that one. I thought about Palhinha. He is an engine. I can confirm that John did support Amorim even after the memorable result against Grimsby. I did. Look, I was with this coach until the bitter end. Look, and Carrick will get the same as well. But look, there may be a time where Michael Carrick does have to go. But when a manager gets sacked, there can't be any excuse. And look, I'll do this. Liverpool, Slot, okay? Slot won a league. Slot got 400 to 500 million pounds. Look, Slot didn't have an excuse. Amorim did, Michael Carrick did, and I'm tired of every coach that we have having an excuse. So look, let's see what happens there. So let's talk about Palhinha. Palhinha. So the next part to this is, again, we're looking at the midfield and Palhinha. Look, Palhinha to me, 31 years old, he is an engine. And I agree with you on that point. I think Palhinha is a good player. Okay, now let me give you the positives and the negatives to this. Now, if it's Palhinha or nothing at all, Palhinha. But my problem with this is this fan base has been told that we're not going to do certain things. This fan base has been told that we're not going to sign players over 25 years old. They're going to be young. We're not going to give them massive contracts. This summer is about data. This summer is about signing the right player. This summer is doing all of that good stuff. Which again, Santos, tick. Tillemans, tick. Palhinha to me goes against that. Now I'm not against signing these types of players. But nobody can tell me this. If you look at Arsenal's midfield, if you look at Man City's midfield, I know they lost, but if you look at what it is that they're trying to do, you can't tell me that a midfield of Santos, Tillemans, Bruno Fernandes, Santos, Kobe Mainoo, Fernandes is better than Arsenal's midfield, Chelsea's midfield, City's midfield. I'd even argue now that Spurs have got a better midfield as well. What I'm saying here is we don't need to go and spend 100. Whether people like this or not, if you want to compete, you've got to go and get those elite players. If you can go get an elite player for a bargain price, but there's a reason why these players cost so much money. Now, Palhinha to me, positives. I think that he's a good player. I think that the positives of a Palhinha would be this: a stopgap. I'm not the biggest fan of a stopgap, but again, we shouldn't be making these sorts of signings. He's got a good engine. I think his engine is very, very similar to a Bruno Fernandes. Fine. I think he is a perfect player that you could bring into the club, maybe on loan, and he can do you a job. Look, if you've got Palhinha, Tillemans, a Santos, a Mainoo, a Bruno, look, is that the best in the world? No, but can that get us through a season? Yes. I don't agree with it at all. And he is a decent player. Now, the negative side to this is, look, we were promised tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. We weren't promised those things. This was a club briefing things out there. Now, I don't mind Palhinha, but can please, can somebody, if you are a staunch Ineos supporter, and you think that we've done good business, and you think that the business is good, and you're happy with the business, can you at least be honest and tell me here that Palhinha is not? We've had 6 months to plan this window. In fact, we've had 1 year to plan the window. Can somebody be honest? And if you are a Ineos supporter, that's fine. If you think we've done business that is good, that's fine. Can you please be honest, at least be honest for once, and tell me whether you think The data led. We've been planning this window for a year. Let's just say that we've been planning it for 6 months. Are you telling me today, are you telling me now that our window is Palhinha, Tielemans, Santos, Darlow, Thompson? Is that what we really planned? Is that what Ineos is going to tell you? Is that what Ineos is going to sell you? Lewis Page might come in as well. Is that what this club has sold you? The dream window. We've got back into the Champions League. And are you telling me that this window is all about that? Because I'm sorry, I respect people's opinions, but I'll call you a liar. Because there's absolutely no way that this is Ineos's window. I tell you what I think has happened. I think Ineos went into the market blind, and it terrifies me. I think that they thought that they could go to a West Ham, get Fernandes for 60 million. I think that they thought that they could go to a Newcastle. Tonali's going to be 70 million. The market changed, and the problem when you got limited funds is when the market changes, you can't react. So look, Palhinha, to me, as much as I think Palhinha is a signing that is okay, is a signing I think that can do. Is this what we are again? We were supposed to sign. If we don't sign an elite player here, and Santos is not an elite player for me, Tielemans, you could call him, he's in the back end of his career. Is he elite? I'd say he's one down from that. We've still not replaced Michael Carrick. We've still not replaced Roy Keane. We've still not replaced, you can argue, Pogba. We've still not replaced Casemiro. When is this club going to learn? So look, Palhinha for me, 31 years old, on about 165k a week. There is no way, in my view, that we're going to pay Bayern Munich 25 to 30 million and pay Palhinha 165k a week. I just don't see it, but I do see that sort of deal happening. I would not rule it out. And guys, please give the video a like as well. Please get in there. Please tell me, do you think we're going to sign players? Who do you think that will sign? Do you think Palhinha could be a stopgap? I want to know all of that good stuff as well. Dave says, JoJB, how are you today? I'm very well, and the setup looks good. I know the lines behind are a bit weird. I will break it up. I'm experimenting with the setup behind me as well. So look, let's talk about Fabrizio Romano. Fabrizio Romano has been talking. Look, we did this on Saturday, but we can go through it again because it's breaking today. Before I do, let me see what Alex says. Alex has said, fair point, read the pre-season results combined with the spin about Amorim. I can't be right on everything on no issue pointed out. You disagree. Life would be boring if we all agreed. And Alex, and that is it, mate. Look, I'm not saying that Alex is wrong. Look, if that's Alex's opinion, I respect the view. And look, I might be wrong on this one. Look, I'm happy for you guys to push back. This is what we do. This is what this channel is about. It's not about my views. I will give you the views, and it's up to you guys to come back, challenge me on them, and I'm more than happy for you guys to come back and challenge me on my views and opinions. Just for the last says, Palhinha was a top 3 player of Fulham 4 years ago. He wouldn't excite me if he was coming to Liverpool, and we desperately need a 6. Exactly that. Exactly. And Natasha says, I thought we were going to be best in class. Now look, best in class. This word that we've heard all season, best in class. Now look, after this week, once we've done with it this week, look, I'm going to try to move away from the transfer stuff, because we then got to talk about what is it that we're going to try to do and how this team is going to play. Look, we all know it's not best in class. Look, this club loves a tagline, right? It's best in class. It is. There's no value in the window. We are driven by the data. We're led by the data. There's no value in the market. Best in class. We're going to win the Premier League Project 150. This is who we are. This is what this club does. And it's not best in class. It is best PR. We are best PR spin in class. That is what this club is. And that is what this club will be for quite some time. So let's see what else you're saying in the chat as well. Carrick has only just been given the job. John, give him time before he wants to replace him. Look, I don't want Michael Carrick replaced right now. Look, Michael Carrick, I'll give Carrick 2 years. I want to give him 2 years in charge. Look, I think he has earned that right. Whether he's good enough or not, that's not down to Michael Carrick. It's literally a bit like Luke Shaw has been given a contract. That's not his fault. Maguire's been given a brand new contract. That isn't his fault. Rashford got a massive contract. That's not his fault. I don't blame Michael Carrick. If Michael Carrick isn't good enough, that is down on the owners. So look, I think we will do the preview of the match against Hull this season. Look, it is match week. We'll be doing watch-alongs and all of that stuff on here as well, and we'll be doing that. So look, stay tuned for that as well. Yes, I will put some kits up. I'm going to put some shelves up. I'll put a kit up. I do have. I'm going to do a mixture behind me because I've got another channel. So I've got a tech channel as well. So there's going to be different bits and pieces. So the background, hopefully, it's going to be some trial and error, but look, this is what we are going to do for the conceivable future. We have reverted, and maybe we'll become, we're going to become more of a proper channel. I'm not saying that we weren't before, but I'm going to get some stuff. I'm going to get some stuff for the desk, and this channel is going to evolve, and this channel is yours, so please get in there with that. So look, Fabrizio Romano. What has Fabrizio JB have a sign gone at? Oh, David, naughty David. Fabrizio Romano. What has Fabrizio Romano been saying? Now, Fabrizio Romano, as we all know, has been found out this window. Fabrizio Romano, my friends, stay tuned. That's awful. Stay tuned for the next transfer window. It's awful. Let's be honest. You say you had a year to plan a window, but who saw you getting Champions League football when Amorim was sacked? You overachieved under Carrick, so the plans would. Now, do you know what? I think that's a very, very interesting comment, and I'll give you my alternative view to that one. I'm not. Scott is in at the house. Yes, Scotty. I hope you're doing extremely well. Now, I'll give you my different view to that. Okay, I think that's a very valid opinion. I think that's very articulate. I think that's a very intelligent thing to say. Do I think that we overachieved? I would agree with you. I think we do. And look, I love the comment. I think what you said, I think, is an absolute correct thing to say. Now, this is where I would disagree with that comment. I will disagree with you with a comment. Is this United basically said that, or Sir Jim said he thinks that this club can win a Premier League. This club is good enough for the Champions League. These are not my words. This is Sir Jim last season. So when we went into last season, Sir Jim said that he thinks that this squad is good enough to win a Premier League. That is the last season. So I understand, and I think your comment is absolutely perfect and correct. But if you're an owner and you think that this club can win or can get into the Champions League, then you need to have two plans. You need to plan A, plan B, plan C, and plan D. So on the basis that your owner, Sir Jim, and these words are there from last season, is basically telling us and you that we can get into the Champions League. We should have had two plans. Plan A is this type of window. Plan B is you plan the Champions League. We didn't do those things. And where I agree with you is I think you're right. They don't. Again, I think this club just says stuff, and they actually said something and it came true. And I tend to agree with you. I think that it was basically caught them by surprise, but they still had a year. They still had 6 months. I do agree with you. I think that we overachieved, but they now need plans. So yeah, yes. So they needed plan A, plan B, plan C, and plan D. Yes, I know there's 4 plans, but they needed at least 2 plans. So look, I agree with that comment. I do. I 100% think that you're absolutely spot on. From my perspective, when Sir Jim says that I think that this club can get into the Champions League, then plan for it. So agree with you. See what we're saying in here as well. JPH says, Fabrizio, is that you? You tricked me for a minute. Thank you very much. No, that's awful. JB upgraded. Yes, of course, of course. Anyone got 7B to buy 7 billion to buy a club when tends to start a go fund me campaign, then what's the point? Now look, I disagree with you. Look, Vril, I respect your opinion. I know it is frustrating. Look, I respect your view. I know it's very, very frustrating when look, all you want to do is get on with the season, right? I get it. But all you want to do, look, I don't want to be sat here talking about the signings. There is other things to be moaning and complaining about in this club rather than the signings. I am with you. All I want to do is get players in and talk about the games. I don't want to be sat here talking about the budgets, talking about that sort of stuff. Even though I'm an accountant by trade, I don't want to be talking about the numbers in my spare time. I've already done that on this channel. I do not want to do that. But look, if we don't continually look to talk about this stuff, the Glazers get away with it. And look, if you don't want to talk about it, I'm not calling your view and opinion out. I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I'm always going to do it. And I think fans are entitled. They've had enough of this window. They've had enough of this club. Now look, when we get into the back end of this window and when we start the season, it is what it is. If we get to the end of the window and we don't sign any more players, or the players that we don't sign are great, that's done with me. What's past is past, and we'll focus on the season. But look, I respect your view because I get it. It is frustrating. It is annoying whenever you go to different channels and all people are doing are moaning, whinging, and complaining. But what I try to do on this channel is I try to give you the both sides. Romano says 3 more. The clown over at United stand. Jacob says 7 more. I think there's a transfer deadline day. We will see more. We need to move a few players out first. So let's talk about Jacobs. Let's talk about Ben Jacobs. Look, this is a guy. Sorry. Vril says, I mean, they don't care. That was my point. You can be annoyed as you like, but they just and look through again. Apologize if you thought I was being rude to you. I'm not, but again, I do agree. Look, I agree with that. Look, I agree with you. The fact that they don't care, they absolutely have no. They don't care about you. They don't care about me, and I agree with you completely. But something has to be done, my friend. Look, something has to be done. And I don't have the answers. Look, I don't actually 100% know, but I do agree with you. I think this club doesn't care. It absolutely doesn't care. But in my view, I think we still need to do something. What it is we do, I don't know. But we can do something, and we should do. So Charlie says, Romano says 3 more. So let's talk about Ben. So Jacobs, let's talk about him, shall we? So look, this is a guy, that mentioned a couple of weeks ago, go Cody Gakpo to United. Whether he meant it or not, he was basically mentioned that Gakpo to United. Even if it's not true, this is what he said. He then went on to say Nkunku, because he's left AC Milan, United were interested in this player, and he's going to have to go and speak to his source, because Christopher and look, Jacobs is an absolute waste of time. Look again, look, this window. The funny thing is, so many people have been caught out here. I speak to a lot of different fan channels behind the scene. I talk to a lot of different channels. I've got a lot of good people that I speak to. And Ben has been caught out lying a couple of times, by the way. So these people have told me about him talking about the club. He is irrelevant just because he's on Talk Sport. Just because look, and that posh voice doesn't fool me whatsoever. The fact that he's given the time of day, and there are so many outlets out there, and I include Indicator on that as well. Look, Fabrizio. I know Fabrizio Romano is probably going to look to retire, but look, he has been caught out as well. Look, these people have been caught out, and we are no longer fooled. So, look, I agree with you. The fact that he's saying that we could potentially sign 7 players, look, Joker. Absolute waste of space, waste of time, absolutely 100% no. Done that one. There's not a single United fan, actually 1% likes the Glazers. That's a lot of people when the fan base is 1 billion strong. I agree. Look, I agree with you, Charlie. Look, the Glazers and Ineos as well. For me, Ineos are complicit, and look, they have got in bed with. Sometimes, if you sleep around, you're going to sleep with the wrong people. Mar says, I'd go for Palhinha, absolutely, or Sander Berge. We need a rangy, leggy cam. Sander Berge is not a cam. Sander Berge is a CDM. Palhinha is a CDM as well. So I don't know if you meant a CDM. Palhinha and Sander Berge are not cams. They are CDMs. Miss Sky says, I deleted everything off my page yesterday. See what we're saying in here as well. They had since last pre-season to scout players. We need football. We need a director of football, or nothing will change. Exactly, I agree with you. Apologies on my end if moaning was offensive. I meant in general. And no, look, people can moan away. People can moan away. I've got no problem in people having an opinion. I don't call your opinion having a moan, by the way. I am happy to have a moan. I don't think your opinions are having a moan. With the new rules, rich owners can't affect the windows. They can build up infrastructure around the club, but they can't put money in for transfers. Exactly. Well, what they could do is they could clear the debt. If they cleared the debt, then you can put some more cash into the club. How far can revenue they bring into the club? Let's be honest, the new shareholders have little pull in the merchandise. Exactly. Done that one. If you sleep around, you sleep with the wrong people. Exactly. Look, I give you my quotes. I give you my best stuff on here. If you sleep around with the wrong people, exactly. I hate FIFA. The terminology on players is it's a midfielder. I love it. I'll give Ineos two things. I like the training facility they built. It's a fantastic building Also, I'm glad they made sure that we didn't go into administration. They got a lot more to prove. I agree with you on the training facility. The bit that I don't necessarily agree with, if we'd have gone into administration, then we would have been bought up by somebody else. So yeah, that bit I don't agree with. Watch me meet some loner on the plane. I said nah to the Uber man. Says says guy. So look, Fabrizio Romano. Where do we go? Where do we go? Left back, centre midfielder, a striker. Where do I think we do? If we go for all of these signings, I'm sorry, I think we go cheap. I think we go cheap, cheap, cheap. Left back, I think we go Salinas, somebody along those lines, or I think we'll go somebody who is relatively cheap. A centre midfielder, a midfielder. Look, I wouldn't look much past Lewis Page. I wouldn't look much past Kone. Belabor if that price comes down, but I think anything beyond those three, I'll be surprised. Palhinha, I would go. I would go either one of Palhinha, Sander Berge, Lewis Page, Kone, one of those players. Romano is toilet. Yes, I agree with you, Eddie. United TK Maxx United says Eddie. Yes. So look, the striker wise, I mean, your guess is as good as mine. I really don't think that we've scouted a striker either. I think again it would just be if an opportunity presents itself in this market. And if I had to guess, now look, Skelly looked good. I want to see him. I want Lewis Skelly. I really like Lewis Skelly. I want that player. I saw some ridiculous takes on a Skelly basically saying that because he plays for Arsenal, that some fans don't want us to fund an Arsenal window. We're not in a position to be turning down Arsenal players. That is a fact. So I am not. I want Skelly. I did a video on him telling you why I want him. I would take Skelly all day long. He is a Champions League finalist, a Premier League winner. I like this player, and he is somebody that I would definitely bring in to this squad, and I agree with you completely. So look, David says JB still believes in the Chew. A mania rumor. David, I love David. David is awesome. So look, guys, on that note, I am going to go. Look, if anything does break, I will jump back on as well. And look, I will break the news. Otherwise, I will be back this evening with another evening show. And look, guys, thank you very much for supporting the channel. We are going to start to do different things on this channel. Look, the very start of this is looking to do different stuff. The background is going to change. I'm trying to make this look a little bit more professional. It's going to look better. I will put some things up. I'll put some kits and I'll put some shelves and that kind of stuff up. And look, we can only try and go as far as we possibly can. Look, none of this is possible without you guys anyway, so thank you for supporting the channel. Hopefully you'll continue to support us as we evolve the channel and look to go bigger and bigger and bigger and get better and better and better, and it is all thanks to you guys as well. CR says at this point I'll take Ivan Toney or Mateta when Arsenal signs Osimhen. Yes, I would take those two as well. What's the Kone and Kamara deals? I figure we need that type of team. Gutted we didn't get Singare. Exactly, Singare. I love Kamara. I don't think that's going to happen, but keep an eye on that one. Look, Kone, we've been talking to Roma. We're trying to negotiate a deal. We're trying to get that price down. Bring back the bring back the swimming pool, says Charlie. Put Ferguson a picture of him up. Yeah, I'm happy to take some suggestions on what I should do with the background. I'm gonna make it look pretty. I'm gonna make it look pretty. So look, guys, have a good sky, have a safe flight, guys. Have a good rest of your day. If anything breaks, I will be back. And look, guys, thank you so much for the support on the channel. You guys are an absolute amazing community. I love this show, and you guys are the community and the channel. So, guys, have a good rest of your morning, afternoon, evening. I will see you later on tonight. I'm JB. This is the United Devil channel, and I'll see you amazing people tonight. Take care.